Just a couple beers was once an acceptable prelude to getting behind the wheel. After a backyard barbecue or a stop at the local tavern, plenty of folks would climb into their cars without a second thought. Today, the thought of it sends a shiver down your spine, but back then, it was as common as stopping for gas on the way home. That's the world we're talking about today. A world where things that are unthinkable now were just normal. The public and personal habits. Imagine lighting up a cigarette in a hospital waiting room today. You'd be escorted out in seconds. But in the 50s, there were ashtrays on the tables and people puffed away while waiting for the doctor. Nurses walked by, doctors too, and nobody said a word. You could smell that mix of disinfectant, coffee, and cigarette smoke. A smell you just don't forget. It's hard to imagine now with our fresh air lobbies and no smoking zones, but back then, it was simply part of the atmosphere. The haze curled up under the harsh, fluorescent lights while folks flipped through dog-eared magazines. It was a world of different norms, and that's a theme you'll see again and again. Another small but normal ritual was carrying a pocket knife. Into a courthouse or onto a plane, it didn't raise eyebrows. It was just an everyday tool that men carried to sharpen pencils, cut string, or open packages. Security checks were minimal, more about making sure you weren't smuggling in a radio than anything sharp. At the airport, you walked straight to your gate with your knife in your pocket, and no one cared. The idea that it could land you in serious trouble today would have sounded ridiculous back then. It wasn't seen as danger, it was practical. And what about trust? Today, we lock everything twice over, install cameras, and still worry. But back then, people left their front doors unlocked for days, sometime even while on vacation. Neighbors kept an eye out, and if anyone knocked, they were just as likely to walk right in. Trust was part of the fabric of life. You knew who lived on your street, and everyone knew you. The idea of needing that much security felt almost insulting, like you didn't believe in the basic decency of the people around you. You relied on community more than locks, and somehow it seemed to work. The dangerous rituals of transportation. Today, we have seatbelts, car seats, and strict laws. But back then, nobody blinked at seeing a half-dozen kids bouncing around in the open bed of a pickup truck, even on the highway. No seatbelts, no roll bars, just the wind in your hair, holding on to the side as the truck rattled along. It felt like the ultimate freedom, riding under the open sky, waving at passing cars. And somehow, we all made it home in one piece, sunburned and grinning from ear to ear. And for those in the car, things were just as loose. Cars didn't even come with seatbelts as standard. So, kids roamed the back seat or sat right up front on the bench seats. It was the best seat in the house, perched high with a clear view through the windshield. Parents drove with one arm across you in a sudden stop, and that was the safety feature. We didn't know about crash tests or restraint systems. It was just family travel, and if you were lucky, you got the armrest for the whole ride to Grandma's. And if you were really lucky, you got to ride on your dad's lap while you drove. Little hands gripped the steering wheel while Dad worked the pedals and you helped steer down the street. It felt like you were driving the whole car, and you sat back afterward feeling about 10 years older. And if you were driving and you needed to get rid of something, you just got rid of it. Tossing trash out of the car window wasn't just something careless people did. It was practically normal. Candy wrappers, soda bottles, even fast food bags went flying without a second thought. Highways and back roads alike had litter in the grass, and nobody called it pollution. It wasn't until later that campaigns like keep America beautiful started changing minds. Back then, the road just swallowed up whatever you tossed, and the idea of bringing it home with you felt downright unnecessary. The laws of the land and lack thereof. In the 50s, the environment wasn't a major concern. Fall meant raking up mountains of crispy leaves, piling them in the street, and setting them alight. The smoke curled lazily into the cool air, carrying that unmistakable smell of burning leaves. Neighbors might stand around and chat as the embers crackled, no one thinking about air quality alerts or fire codes. And when you changed your own oil, you just dumped the used oil down the storm drain or in a corner of the yard. Nobody thought about groundwater or the environment. The smell of that black used-up oil was a badge of maintenance, and sometimes you'd see a rainbow sheen floating in the gutter after a rain, and it barely registered. And what about kids? Parents used to wave goodbye in the morning, and that was it. You were on your own until supper. Kids roamed blocks away from home, climbed trees, played in creeks, and explored construction sites, all without a phone or constant check-ins. You learned the lay of the land, who had the mean dog, and where you could get a drink of water. The only rule was to be back when the streetlights came on. No GPS trackers, no anxious texts, just a kind of freedom kids today can hardly imagine, and a trust that you'd find your way home just fine. It's amazing how a few decades can completely change our perspective. These habits and rituals show us that what's considered normal is always changing. They remind us of a time when life felt a little slower, a little more trusting, and a little more dangerous. It was a time of simple freedoms and unspoken rules, where a trust in your neighbors and a healthy dose of common sense were your best safety features. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. So tell us, what is one memory of these habits that surprised you the most? Or is there a tradition from your childhood that you can't believe was once normal? Perhaps it's a memory of riding in the back of a pickup truck, or the smell of burning leaves. Share your memories below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos about the incredible stories behind your favorite retro TV shows.